This video is going to be a breakdown of high versus low sensitivity in Fortnite. Which one is going to be better? Which one is going to be worse? What do I recommend for players at this current moment in time, whether you're trying to do arena, comp, or just casual gaming? I'm going to go into a deeper analysis of high versus low sensitivity and have an overall general discussion with you guys, as well as to share my recommendations at the end of the video to tell you guys exactly what I think. The thing that's going to separate me from other videos that talk about this topic is the simple fact that I play high and low sensitivity, as well as I play keyboard and mouse and controller on both PS4 and Xbox. Now I play double claw on PS4, I play single claw on Xbox with paddles on the back, and I've been playing mouse and keyboard for about 2 years. So I feel like if anything, I have a pretty good idea about high versus low sensitivity, how to find sense, and just overall I think I'll be able to give you guys good recommendations that have a strong meaning to them because I've been playing on all these inputs. 85% of people that watch my YouTube videos are not subscribed to my channel, so if you guys can hit that like button and that sub button for the one time, it would mean the world to me as we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Now if you guys want to skip right to the high sense versus low sense pros and cons part, I'm going to leave a timestamp on the video right now so you guys can jump to it if you like. The reason why I'm not jumping into it right away is because I want to tell you guys that there's a lot of things that go into sensitivity, and for a controller and keyboard there's things that are separate. So if you're a controller player or a keyboard player, I want to inform you on these differences. Now if you're a controller player, you have more control over your sensitivity, so you can kind of balance a high and low sense at the same time because you have the ability to adjust your sensitivity for editing, building, and as well as just an overall aiming sense as well, and how fast you look around without your map out when you have a gun out or your pickaxe out. Something like that is extremely important because if you have that much customization on a keyboard, you'll be allowed to edit and play much faster and smoother, and then when it comes down to box fighting, aiming, medium to long range aiming as well, it's a lot better for you if you are on mouse and keyboard with those customizations because you can customize it exactly to how you like. So if you're really slow on editing, you can boost that speed even more and then have a really good aiming and building sense, because at the end of the day, the main reason why a lot of keyboard players have a really fast sense is because the average person sees a PC and they think that they want to be a really cracked editor, so they hop to keyboard and mouse and they think that they're going to be really fast. The downside is to that is that when you adjust your sensitivity really high, what you're doing is, yeah, you're going to have good editing and building, but at the same time you might take away from your aiming side and your box fighting skills because your aim is going to be all over the place. So just in case you guys play controller and you never touch the keyboard, or if you're on keyboard and you actually don't even know this, which I'd be surprised if you didn't because we're in chapter 2 right now, but when you're on PC, there's two things that go into sensitivity, which is your EDPI and your DPI. EDPI stands for effective dots per inch and DPI stands for dots per inch. Now I'm not going to go too in depth with these because some of you guys might be controller as well, but for the most part, DPI is what most people program their mouse to. Then EDPI is your Fortnite in-game sense times your DPI, and that will give you your EDPI, which means that two different people can have different DPIs, but since they know the same EDPI, they can change that Fortnite sense to match the EDPI that they desire. Now let me explain, I didn't want to make this video confusing at all, so that's probably the most confusing it's gonna get. A lot of people that posted videos about this particular topic kind of go off on things and leave the video empty-handed, so it kind of confuses you by the time you leave and you're not sure what to do. I'm gonna explain things to you very clearly and calmly, that way you'll understand exactly what to do by the time you leave this video on whether or not you want high or low sense. Let's get into the pros and cons, starting off with controller. But one thing I want to mention to you guys on controller is the simple fact that you guys might be interested in control freaks. Now this video isn't sponsored, even though I kind of wish for a sponsor. When you use a control freak, it allows you to have a higher sense because the higher the analog stick is, the more control you're gonna have with it. That means that you'll be able to do better quick movement flicks, as well as be very precise with your aim because it's from a further distance. That's the main reason why pros use control freaks. You don't have to, and there's people that don't do it, but if I were you, I'd honestly try them out. It can't hurt. Now pay attention, because if you have low sense across the board for everything on controller, then I think you're doing it wrong. Like I said, one of the pros to controller was the fact that you can customize everything you need. So what I'm trying to say is that you really don't need a high or low sense. What you need to do is have a good balance between them. So the pro to controller is that you can customize them, right? So with that being said, you should customize your edit and building sense to be a little higher than your normal sensitivity, sensitivity. Because since you can't shoot while you're building or editing, this means that you can afford to have a little bit more of a shakier screen to grab all the edits around you. Because sometimes when you have a really low sense, one of the cons, especially on controller, is that you won't be able to do things like double edits, triple edits, maybe certain wall edits fast enough, because you have to look and hold that direction so much, so it forces you to be really slow, and therefore you might lose the fight because the guy is seeing what you're doing. Because being slow and methodical is actually something that is really good for Fortnite, but if you're too slow to the point where your enemy knows exactly what you're doing, then it's not going to be okay for you. Now, if you're on controller and your sensitivity is so low, then you're going to have a really hard time when the enemy is in your box and you have to turn around completely. It's not going to work out for you because your sensitivity just doesn't allow you to turn around that fast. Having a high sensitivity for controller, on the other hand, for aiming and building and editing, is going to mean that your screen is going to be going all over the place because you won't be able to control it as fast with a keyboard and mouse. An analog stick is just simply not the same as a mouse. You have way more control over your sensitivity. Now, I bet this is the reason why Epic didn't really implement a edit and build mode sensitivity for people on keyboard and mouse, because you can have so much control on a mouse. You can make it go really slow and make it go really fast without having to do so much work, unlike a controller. I'm not completely done with controller, but to recap, there's no such thing as a high or low sense on controller because you have so much customization available to you to adjust it the way you like. There's no such thing as a one-all sensitivity for a controller, unlike the keyboard and mouse, which is like an EDPI/DPI thing. In this current stage of Fortnite on controller, I think that it's best for you to have a low aiming sensitivity, a slightly higher building sensitivity, and a even higher editing sensitivity. This means you'll be hella accurate, you'll be able to build at a better pace than you would be because your sensitivity on your aiming is really low. And then when you go to edit, you'll be able to get way more cracked over time because you can really move your analog stick quickly and get those nice clean edits off. Especially if you use a control freak, you'll be even better. Let's talk about keyboard and mouse for a second. Now, on keyboard and mouse, there's no such thing as a high, low, and medium mixture for sense. You either pick one or none. Now, in this current state of Fortnite on keyboard and mouse, one of the main things that stick out to me is the simple fact that you can't adjust to it like you can on controller. You need to be able to aim, build, and be able to get clean flick shots off with a shotgun, all on one sensitivity. I'm not including aiming down sights because you can adjust for that in settings, both on controller and keyboard and mouse, so that part is kind of irrelevant. Now, one of the pros to having a high sense, you'll be able to edit a lot better, you'll have more control over your edits, you'll be able to build faster, maybe do different high ground retakes that your friends can't do. But honestly, does that even matter? If you don't have the ability to aim at a very high level, then this game is going to be really hard for you and you might find yourself raging more often than not. Now, I've experimented with high sense on keyboard as well as controller. I've experimented with low sense and medium sense on both of those as well. I've literally had experience with every single sense, and I can tell you that I've been practicing each one for more than like 2 months, so I never just put it on and dropped it right away within a couple days. Now, for all you nerds out there, including myself on mouse and keyboard, I think that for the current state of Fortnite right now, a medium sensitivity to a more low sensitivity will be better for you in the long run. If we think about the current state of Fortnite right now, what is everyone good at? What is the reason that everyone kind of stopped playing this game and left? Don't get me wrong, people's aims are cracked, but the main reason is because people can't keep up with the builds, they can't keep up with the editing, and it gets them mad when they die to a mongrel classic 24/7. So this is where a good sensitivity will come into play. I think about it like this. One of the ways you can counter a high sense player is to understand that they're going to be doing most of the building in the build fight. Now, whether you are one of those people or whether you're not one of those people, this tip still applies to you because you guys all go against people who are cracked. Let's say there's 2 people going into a build fight. Guy A has a low to medium sensitivity and guy B has a really high sensitivity. Chances are the guy with the really high sense is going to be trying to go crazy on you, and he probably won't stop building until he gets high. With this being said, you can keep in mind that his aim might not be so good. Just because someone's building a lot and has a high sense doesn't mean that they're not going to whiff shots. If you are a semi-good builder and you are really good at hitting shots and knowing when people are going to come off their box so they see an angle on you and you're both going to shoot, if one person gets more damage than the other, it doesn't matter that your sensitivity is high. Therefore, in my mind, if guy A has a lower sensitivity, he's going to be able to hit heavy shots and he's going to be able to lay in damage on you. Therefore, guy A is going to have a better chance at hitting heavy shots because more of his pellets are going to hit you, more of his AR bullets might hit you in the head, rather than a kind of clunky and kind of jittery high sense player aiming at you. they might hit you in the body instead of hitting you in the head. Therefore, someone with a low sense to medium sense, I think, would win that fight. Let's get into the overview. Now, if you guys watch this whole video through, you probably know what I'm about to say. I think that in the current state of Fortnite, in season 3 of chapter 2, that a low medium sense on keyboard and mouse is going to do you way more justice than a really high sense. As long as you can still do double edits and simple high ground retakes with simple 90s and being able to turn around in a 180 degrees the second you get shot with the mouse pad space that you have at your own desk, then you will be able to perform really well in games, as long as you have a good IQ. If you're a controller player, I think that having a low aiming sensitivity, a low non-aiming sensitivity, so like when you have your shotgun and you're not aiming, that is also low. So from there, you up your building mode sensitivity a little higher, and then from there, you up your editing sensitivity even higher than your building. That way, you'll be able to have quicker and cleaner edits when you're doing a stair edit, a wall edit, a cone edit, or a floor edit. If you want to have an adult discussion about this, where we can talk about the differences between high sense and low sense, and in what situations would be better for you, and etc., then I would recommend coming through on my Twitch chat or on my Discord, or you can even drop a comment, as I reply to literally everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant, and I hope you guys use my recommendations and really think about them the next time you go into Fortnite. Of course, there's a lot of exceptions to every rule, but this is more so for the general public. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a great night. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Deuces. Peace.